Hi, it's me, Daphne, and welcome back to my channel. I'm coming back to you with a fun book recommendations collab video. So I was asked by the lovely Hannah Blackwell to recommend you all some fun beach reads for the coming summer months, and I'm very excited to get through some of these books that I have over here. I'm going to be doing a bit of physical book recommendations from the books that I own, and then I have some books that I read on my Kindle that I can recommend to you as well. So definitely check out all their videos down below. I believe Hannah's going to create a playlist with all our videos for our beachy recommendations, and that's enough for the intro. Let me get into the books. So the obvious thing to start with is Emily Henry. How could I not, okay? Beach read literally has beach in the title, but to be fair, this probably isn't the beachiest read on this list that I'm gonna be giving you because like they don't spend that much time at the beach. Like they're like at a beach house, but like the one time they're on the beach is kind of like dirty and gross and like the water is gross. So it doesn't give like the best beachy vibes, but for like a quick, fun, consumable romance, this is a great beach read option. This is about two authors. We have January and Augustus, and they're both working on some new manuscripts, but they need like some inspiration, so they decide to switch genres and like teach each other about like their style of writing. So January, I believe she mainly writes romances, and August writes like hard-hitting type content, and they go on these cute little rom-com-y dates and stuff to help each other out, and it's a really fun, cute time. This was my introduction to Emily Henry, and I really enjoyed it. But I have to say, my favorite Emily Henry that I've read only 3 of her books. This one, People We Meet on Vacation, is by far my favorite. I gave this 5 stars. Again, beachy vibes. It says vacation. They're on lounge chairs and bathing suits. Like, this is great. This is between Poppy and Alex, and it's a friends to lovers romance. I will say I struggled a bit in the first half because you get their history as friends and that slow burn buildup, but the payoff in the second half makes everything, like all that context and all that understanding that is built in the first half, so much better. Like the payoff is just that much stronger because of, you know, the time spent in the first half, and I absolutely loved it. This would be an easy, fun read as well. Poppy like is a writer for a paper or a magazine or something, and she travels around writing about fun vacation places, if I remember correctly. I read this a while ago. And Alex has been in love with Poppy like forever, but he's been friend zoned, and it's that story. Again, take that with a grain of salt because that's what I remember. And then something like ruins their relationship. It's supposed to be this big, like, mysterious, like, what happened? But it's kind of obvious, but that doesn't even matter because it's still great. So another aspect of a beach read in my mind, beyond just like the setting being kind of summery and beachy and like fun, is how quickly you can consume the book. Like you just want to sit and just like fly through pages and just have like a good, lighthearted, fun, carefree time. And this next book, maybe the next 2 books, I'd say do that. So I have One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. I read this so long ago. I probably read this like 5 years ago. When did this come out? So this came out in 2020, so I read it 4 years ago. When I tell you this was probably one of the fastest like full-length novels I've ever read, I'm not lying. So this book is a Bachelorette kind of TV show setup. We have our heroine, let's see what her name was, Bia, and she is a curvy plus-sized woman, and she criticized this Bachelorette type show because they didn't have good representation on it. So the show comes to her and is like, why don't you be the star of our show? So she agrees, and it's her like trying to navigate this competition show and actually find a decent man to walk away with. And if you don't know anything about me, I love the Bachelor Nation world. I mean, it's so messy, and there's always drama and always like terrible people on it. but I just like eat it up. So when I was reading that, it was giving that same energy, except I didn't have to wait every week for a new episode. And I just cared about Bia so much. I was so concerned that these men like literally weren't in it for the right reasons, which some of them weren't in it for the right reasons, and were just taking advantage of her and just like trying to be famous and all this stuff. And yeah, absolutely ate this up so fast. I was like I just remember going to bed and thinking about this book and being like, I'm stressed out. I need to make sure these men aren't gonna hurt my girl Bea. And I might be saying that wrong. It might be just B, like Beatrice, B, I don't know, B-E-A. So if you just wanna like sit and like just be fully absorbed in like a silly, messy, fun time, this might be the book for you. And then this next book I also read pretty fast once I actually got to the beach. So this book I literally read on the beach in California, and that's The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer. This is like a thriller romancy book. It's so shiny, it's like hard to see. And it's about this woman who is like, she like tortures people or something. She's like an expert in drugs and stuff. So she's like torturing this man who's our hero because they think he has information. I don't know. I don't fully recall. I probably read this, again, like 4 years ago, but it was super fast paced. I wanted to know what was going on. I wanted to see the relationship build. They're like, the stakes are pretty high. And honestly, for me, when it comes to romances, I usually don't get wrapped up in the stakes because I'm like, it's a romance, things are gonna work out. But like, I just remember like really feeling the like action in this story. So it sounds like our heroine like worked for the US government, but something went wrong and now she has a target on her back and she's on the run, and she was like torturing. I just remember her torturing this guy who's the hero, and he was like honestly really forgiving about the fact that she tortured him. But I had to add this one on the list, even though it's not one of my favorites, but like I literally read it on the beach and I read it super fast and I was entertained, even though it's not a perfect book. But yeah, it's cool to like try Stephanie Meyer's books outside of her Twilight stuff, because like, to be fair, she writes pretty well. I just get kind of tired of the whole draining the Twilight thing, like milking it until there's nothing left thing that she's been doing, you know? Like, could she write things beyond Twilight? Like, again, that would be great. I wasn't gonna talk about this one, but I might as well just briefly mention, I also love Stephanie Meyer's other book, The Host, which I'd say it's like also a fun beach read because of the atmosphere, or like the environment is like in the desert, and it's just like a really good, solid book. This is actually one of my favorite of all time, like YA books. And it would have been really cool if she continued this series, but she's like, I think she said in interviews that like the world is really dangerous, so she doesn't want to like kill off her characters, but I just want to see the romance evolve in this story further because it was so good. But like, she'll never do it, which is sad because it's really good. So you could read this also. All right, switching gears again. We're going off strictly environment. These books I really, really liked. I really, really enjoyed them. I think I gave these next two books actually 5 stars. So the first one I'll mention is The House on the Cerulean Sea. This takes place on an island, like a cute little island. So very like summery, by the sea vibes. You know, like sometimes the beach isn't always like a sandy beach. Sometimes you're just like by the ocean beach. This is about our main character, Linus. He works for this department that like is supposed to check in on magical orphans. He goes to visit this like high profile, secret, dangerous orphanage with these like top secret kids. And it's that story. There's a bit of romance between Linus and the caretaker of the orphanage, Arthur, and it's just really sweet and fun, and I was laughing out loud. It was so much fun to discover the personalities of these kids, what kind of magical creatures or beings they were, and just the relationships among them, and how Linus like opens up his heart and like all this stuff, and it was just so sweet and cute, and I loved it, and I annotated it. Yeah, it's a great one. 5 stars. The next one is like a total tonal shift from the last one, and that is Lord of the Flies. So this is another book I gave 5 stars. It's a like modern classic, I guess. I don't know how people would classify it. For setting, this is very beachy. This is about these young boys that crash land on a deserted island, and it's just them, and they have to kind of figure out how to survive, how to like work together, how to build their own like mini society, and how things just start devolving into chaos. Because what else can we expect when 12-year-old boys are supposed to take care of themselves and like not hurt each other? I read this in high school and I reread it as an adult maybe 2 years ago, and I loved it even more as an adult. I feel like the emotional impact and like just the horror of it, it's not like a horror novel, but just like how heartbreaking it is and like tragic to see like these boys, like the decisions they make, and like hit harder reading as an adult. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this. It's very short, so it's good for a beach read if you just want something small to just like pop in your purse. It's different from the other ones because it's not light and fun and fluffy, but it is beachy in the sense of the environment, and you could probably relate a little bit more to the boys as they're like running wild on this island if you're also sitting somewhere on a beachy place, potentially an island. So yeah, also a great book. Now let me talk about some of the ebooks that you might want to read. We'll probably go back more into like a romancy vibe with them. Okay, I'll just talk about 3 more. I'll recommend It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I know some people either really love this or really think it's like whatever, but I gave this book 5 stars. I thought it was super fun. So this book reminds me of, what's her name from Schitt's Creek? What is the sister's name? It's Alexis. So our main character, she is pretty much like Alexis from Schitt's Creek. She spends daddy's money. She's a socialite in the city. She can do whatever she wants. But one day daddy's like, you have gotten in too many scandals. I'm cutting you off. I'm gonna send you to the family home that has been kind of abandoned in this like small fishing town. So she's like thrown out there, and she has to kind of figure out how she's gonna survive, how she's gonna get back in the good graces of her family. And she meets this gruff, grumpy fisherman guy, and it's that romance. And it's just a steamy, fun, summery, beachy time. Again, it's by the water. You spend time with the fisherman like on his boat for a bit. Like it's like a big boat. It's not like just like a cute little like 2-person boat. Like it's a big thing that's like dangerous. And yeah, another fun, summery, easier romance for a reading on the beach. And then the next one, if you want beachy but like dark romance with like toxic characters and thriller aspects and suspense and danger and hot sexy time, I'd recommend Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. I gave this 4 stars, but I did think about it a lot. Like probably a fair amount of months after completing it. It's super fun. So this is highly toxic. Our main character, I don't remember their names. So she's been stealing the credit cards and identities of men along the way to keep her own identity hidden from whoever is trying to track her down, whoever she's running from. And she accidentally crosses the wrong sexy guy. So she meets this guy like at a bar. They like have like a one-night stand, which is her like typical MO, and she steals his credit card, and he's pissed. She doesn't, honestly, that's like one of the plot holes that's kind of annoying. She doesn't even spend that much, but like he's out for revenge when it comes to her. Like he wants to like ruin her life. So he's like a marine biologist or something. So he has this boat, and he tricks her onto the boat, and he's like, actually, I'm gonna make your life hell. I won't go into the details of this, even though this one part is like really bad that happens on the boat. Read it if you want to find out. It's like fucking, it's messed up. He is a messed up guy. Like he's barely not gonna kill her, you know, level revenge that he wants, but he's a hero, but he's like an anti-hero, but like whatever. Anyway, they're on the boat. He's trying to like ruin her life or like terrify her or maybe even kill her. And a storm comes, and they end up getting shipwrecked on this island where there's a lighthouse. However, this lighthouse is abandoned, and they're trying to survive this lighthouse. I think there's maybe a creepy caretaker that they meet. And there's messed up stuff going on this island between the two characters, between like the history of this island, and like it was creepy stuff going on. But the way he hates her, but the way he wants her so bad is just so highly entertaining. He can't resist her, but he also hates that about himself, but also he doesn't care that he's gonna like do sexy time with her in like these like messed up ways, but also he wants to protect her from the craziness that's like slowly revealing itself on this island. I read this a while ago too. I probably read this over a year ago, but yeah, it was a fun time. I think H.D. Carlton's also the woman that wrote the Cat and Mouse duet with Haunting Adeline. And I read that too. It was also fun, but it's not beachy at all. It's just dark. I think it's like the opposite of beachy, honestly. So the last one I'm gonna talk about isn't like beachy by the water, but it's sandy because it takes place in a desert. And I don't think I talked about like a fantasy one really. So this next one is a fantasy, and it's A Promise of Fire. It's the first book in the Kingmaker Chronicles trilogy, and it has like spin-off series associated with it. I've only read the first 3, but if you're in the mood to jump into a new fun fantasy series, I'd recommend this one. It's got magic and like a Greek kind of vibe to it with the gods and stuff and demigods, and obviously there's romance and adventure and like one horse trope, and the hero kidnaps our heroine because apparently she's like a truth detective or something. That's not right. I think people think she knows when people are lying, but she has more powers than people are aware of, and that gets more detailed out as the series goes on. It gets more interesting, and yeah, the romance is really fun, and you know, he becomes so devoted to her, and it's just so fun, but it doesn't start out that way, and you're like, he's kidnapping her, he's like using her, like what's his deal? And she's just trying to escape and like live her life under the radar, and all this fun stuff. Again, this is another series I read a super long time ago. I don't know why I'm recommending you like all these books I read so long ago. But these are the ones that feel summery and beachy and fun and, you know, perfect to recommend. So, I hope you like them. All right, that's all the book recommendations I have for you today. Don't forget to check out all my fabulous collaborators' videos as well. I'm gonna link their channels in my description box and Hannah's playlist if it's up already for your convenience. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it, and obviously it helps out my channel. And I will catch you in another video. Bye!